Over the past 3 years, rent prices across America experienced a surge that seemed almost unimaginable. From Miami to Seattle, landlords went wild with increases, forcing tenants to pay exorbitant rents. But in 2025, the script has completely flipped. Landlords' advantages are vanishing, and cities that were once red-hot now face massive vacancies. For the first time in a decade, rents aren't just falling, they're plummeting. Developers oversupplied, investors overextended, and tenants finally hit their breaking point. Multiple major cities are seeing double-digit rent drops, with discounts and free rent deals flooding back into the market. Landlords are panicking, tenants are finally gaining leverage, and the power dynamics of America's rental market are being reshuffled once again. Number 10. Austin, Texas. Austin's rise was the stuff of legend, and its decline is equally dramatic. From 2020 to 2023, the Texas capital became the poster child for tech exodus. Remote workers flooded in, venture capital followed, and billion-dollar startups relocated from the coasts. Austin styled itself as the next Silicon Valley, with luxury apartments sprouting like mushrooms and landlords jacking up rents with abandon. But by 2025, the boom screeched to a halt. Average rents crashed roughly 14% year-over-year, making it one of the hardest-hit cities in the Sunbelt. Those trendy new towers now sit partially empty, their rooftop pools deserted. Developers are throwing every incentive imaginable: 3 months free, 0 deposits, even concert tickets, just to get tenants in the door. The reason for the collapse? The tech foundation crumbled. Massive layoffs at Meta, Oracle, and Tesla wiped out the high-income renter demographic. High-end complexes like the Independent and 70 Rainey are seeing vacancy rates at levels unseen in a decade. Investors who borrowed aggressively during the frenzy are now bleeding, their profits evaporating between high interest costs and tenant flight. For renters, this is the turning point they've been waiting for. A city that became unaffordable overnight is finally loosening up, with leverage shifting back to people who actually live and work there. Number 9. Miami, Florida. Miami's rent spike was dizzying. Fueled by pandemic-era migration, crypto millionaires, and international buyers, the city became a playground for the ultra-wealthy. From 2020 to 2022, rents shot up vertically, over 60%. Locals got priced out, and downtown towers became monuments to excess. But by 2025, the bubble burst. Average rents slid roughly 11% in a year, with vacancy rates climbing steadily across Brickell, downtown, and Miami Beach. Those luxury condos with panoramic bay views are now throwing incentives left and right. Free parking, waived move-in fees, even gift cards worth thousands. The problem isn't just soft demand, it's exploding costs. Insurance premiums have tripled. HOA fees have spiked to comply with Florida's post-collapse safety regulations. Countless investors are bleeding money every month. Units that sold for $900,000 now struggle to fetch $700,000 or don't sell at all. Airbnb operators are bailing out in droves. Foreign buyers are retreating, scared off by storm threats and special assessments. From a distance, Miami still looks postcard perfect, but beneath the surface, the numbers no longer make sense. In 2025, Miami became a cautionary tale. When luxury outpaces reality, even paradise can crack. Number 8. Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta was supposed to be the exception, the truly balanced southern city. With a thriving job market, reasonable home prices, and steady new resident inflow, it seemed like the region's smartest bet. From 2021 to 2024, over 50,000 new rental units came online, far more than the city could realistically absorb. In 2025, the optimism collapsed. Rents slid roughly 9%, with vacancy rates climbing across nearly every neighborhood. High-rises that once filled in days now sit half-empty. Landlords are offering every concession imaginable: months of free rent, complimentary parking, no deposits, hoping to lure tenants back. But oversupply isn't the whole story. The deeper issue is affordability hitting a wall. Wages have stagnated, inflation has eroded household savings, and student loan repayment resumption is squeezing younger renters. More people are doubling up, moving back with parents, or leaving altogether. Even suburbs like Cobb and Gwinnett are getting caught in the downturn. For years, Atlanta was praised as a blueprint for sustainable growth. But now it's become a showcase for unbalanced growth. Cranes kept spinning long after demand was exhausted. Developers focused on luxury over necessity, and landlords counted on tenants stretching budgets indefinitely. When reality caught up, the consequences followed. Number 7. Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas has always lived in extremes. In 2025, its landlords turned to take the hit. What once seemed unstoppable, Californians flooding in, investors frantically buying properties, has evaporated. This year, momentum vanished. Rents have dropped nearly 10% since 2023, and vacancy rates have doubled. Large apartment communities in Henderson and Summerlin have entire buildings sitting empty. The rental market is severely saturated. Tourism, the city's lifeline, hasn't fully recovered. Casinos employ fewer workers. Convention traffic isn't what it was, and service staff are taking home smaller tips. Meanwhile, thousands of Airbnbs that once profited off weekend tourists are now being dumped into the long-term rental market. Homes that rented for $2,400 monthly now struggle to attract tenants at $1,900. More units keep flooding in. Developers are completing projects started during optimistic times, drowning the market with high-end apartments few actually need. Las Vegas in 2025 carries an uneasy déjà vu, echoing the 2008 crash, but dressed in new-era clothes. When speculation runs wild and fundamentals can't keep up, landlords don't end up winners. Number 6. Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, the epicenter of Sunbelt surge, is cooling down far faster than anyone imagined. Not long ago, it was the poster child for population growth and red-hot demand. Families from California and the Midwest poured in, construction fired on all cylinders, and rents rocketed upward. Entire communities in Chandler, Glendale, and Mesa seemingly materialized overnight. But by 2025, the wave of optimism evaporated. The city's drowning in excess supply. Over 30,000 brand-new apartments hit the market in a single year, far exceeding what Phoenix's population could absorb. Average rents crashed roughly 12%, with landlords competing for attention through every incentive imaginable: free months, furnished units, prepaid utilities. Buildings that once had long waiting lists are now openly begging for tenants. The skyline might look vibrant, but the finances are fracturing. Insurance and maintenance costs have skyrocketed, and investors who bought premium projects at peak pandemic prices are now underwater. The pressure isn't limited to landlords. Phoenix's job market is tightening too. High interest rates, slowing immigration, and stalled corporate expansion mean fewer newcomers and paychecks. In 2025, Phoenix isn't just cooling, it's experiencing a full-blown correction. A metro area that expected to house 10 million people now faces the reality that demand barely supports 8 million. The era of unchecked expansion has hit its limit, and the consequences are finally arriving. Number 5. Dallas, Texas. For a long time, Dallas radiated an aura of invincibility. Major corporations kept relocating, drawing young professionals to fill uptown high-rises and fuel endless suburban sprawl. Investors talked about Dallas like it was Texas's economic heartbeat: too strong, too diversified, growing too fast to ever slow down. But by 2025, the confidence shattered. Rents across Uptown, Plano, and Frisco slid roughly 10%, with vacancy rates at top-tier Class A buildings reaching levels unseen in over a decade. The skyline might still gleam like jewelry, but behind those glass towers, landlords are growing desperate. The reason isn't mysterious, it's simple math. Developers built far beyond what the market could reasonably absorb. From 2021 to 2024, tens of thousands of new apartments came online just as renters started pulling back. Inflation eroded purchasing power, rates stayed elevated, and many would-be tenants downsized, split costs with roommates, or moved back home temporarily. Landlords are rolling out incentives they hoped had disappeared forever: waived utilities, free parking, prepaid rent credits. Investors who relied on steady cash flow are watching profits vanish as insurance premiums climb and property taxes devour remaining margins. Dallas, once a symbol of unstoppable prosperity, is now caught in a dangerous cycle. Too many luxury units, nowhere near enough affordable options. Even the robust corporate sector can't save the market. Tech and finance employers have frozen hiring, meaning fewer newcomers looking for apartments. Number 4. Boise, Idaho. Boise was the pandemic darling. A quiet mountain town suddenly became America's unexpected housing sensation. Remote workers fleeing San Francisco, Seattle, and Portland poured in with cash, triggering bidding wars that sent rents and home prices into the stratosphere. Developers raced to catch up, convinced demand would never fade. But by 2025, the shine wore off and the decline is obvious. Average rents dropped roughly 13% year over year, with vacancy rates rising faster than anywhere in the Mountain West. Downtown apartments that once rented in days now sit idle for months. Developers who scrambled to build hundreds of sleek, upscale complexes during the boom now face a brutal reality. The supply was designed for big tech incomes, but Boise's core workforce, teachers, nurses, baristas, service workers, never had Silicon Valley salaries. They watched rents blow past $2,000 monthly during the frenzy, then watched the Californians who drove the surge pack up and go home. As remote work faded and out-of-state migration slowed, Boise's overheated housing market wobbled. Even once-coveted suburbs like Meridian, Nampa, and Eagle took hits. Construction sites went quiet. Building materials gathered dust. Investors who expected endless returns are now selling at a loss to avoid deeper bleeding. Landlords are responding with increasingly dramatic concessions, cutting rent by $300, for $100, even $500, throwing in free months and upgrades. But many units still sit empty. Boise's story is both poetic and painful. The place people fled to escape big city chaos has become a textbook example of what happens when migration stops and hype evaporates. Number 3. Seattle, Washington. For the first time in over a decade, Seattle's iconic skyline feels unsettled. After 10 years of uninterrupted expansion, soaring rents, and cranes crowding the horizon, 2025 brought a sobering correction. Average rents dropped roughly 10%, and those gleaming towers that once symbolized limitless opportunity now mark empty floors and struggling landlords. Much of the shift stems from the tech collapse. Layoffs at Amazon and Microsoft, plus a wave of startup failures, destroyed the renter base that supported the city's housing boom. Downtown buildings that once boasted waiting lists now offer cash incentives, months of free rent, and every possible perk to attract tenants. Neighborhoods like Capitol Hill, South Lake Union, and Belltown, where discounts were once unheard of, have luxury apartments openly advertising price cuts. The ripples don't stop downtown. Suburban hubs like Bellevue, Redmond, and Kirkland face the same pattern. Renewal rates are dropping, residents are moving out, and developers who counted on an endless flow of high-income renters suddenly see inventory piling up. Several major projects have been paused or quietly abandoned, leaving skeletal half-finished structures dotting the skyline. But the most significant shift isn't just numbers, it's mindset. The pandemic changed how people think about workspace and lifestyle. Many who once prioritized Seattle's prestige and tech culture are now choosing smaller, calmer cities or different states entirely. The outward migration isn't huge, but it's steady, and every family that leaves takes another piece of the city's stability with them. For landlords, the shift is humbling. Renters are negotiating again, demanding flexible terms, lower prices, and concessions unthinkable just years ago. Those gleaming glass towers, long architectural symbols of innovation and ambition, now reflect a harsher truth. Markets aren't invincible. In 2025, Seattle remains beautiful in the mist, but beneath the gloss is fragility, a reminder that even tech-driven economies have limits. Number 2. San Francisco, California. If any place truly embodies the word collapse, it's San Francisco. Once hailed as America's innovation hub, the city's rental market has deteriorated beyond recognition. Average rents crashed roughly 15% in a year, with vacancy rates in the downtown core breaking every historical record. Premium apartments that commanded $4,000 monthly now struggle to fill even at $3,000 plus incentives. The tech worker exodus that began during the pandemic never reversed. Remote work didn't fade. It solidified into the new normal. Downtown districts that once buzzed with startups, VCs, and caffeinated dreamers have become quiet glass corridors. Entire blocks feel like ghost towns, lined with rental signs that feel permanent. Landlords who once boasted about easy passive income are now begging for occupants. Costs, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, have skyrocketed to the point where profits evaporate entirely. Investors who bought at peak prices are essentially trapped, unable to refinance without absorbing massive losses. Beyond the numbers lies something more destructive: perception. Concerns about safety, homelessness, and overall quality of life are pushing tenants away faster than any rent discount can pull them back. Many who might have once chosen San Francisco are opting for Sacramento or Austin instead, cities offering more space, less stress, and a sense of stability. The local culture is bearing weight too. Restaurants, boutiques, and art galleries that gave San Francisco its iconic charm are shuttering. Each closure removes a bit of what made the city feel alive and irreplaceable. Even the tech identity that once defined the region is fading. Major companies are quietly leaving headquarters, shifting toward cheaper, cleaner, more manageable hubs. The irony is painful. The city that once set the benchmark for sky-high housing costs nationwide now demonstrates how low markets can fall when everything supporting them retreats. San Francisco's decline isn't a blip. It's a transformation etched in steel, glass, and empty storefronts, a powerful warning about what happens when innovation races ahead without a foundation of sustainability. Number 1. New York City. Topping the list is the giant nobody expected to fall, New York City. For generations, its rental market felt indestructible. Whatever crisis hit the country, demand always bounced back. But in 2025, the longtime myth finally lost its grip. Manhattan's average rent dropped roughly 12%, with parts of Brooklyn and Queens seeing declines approaching 15%. For the first time in decades, tenants, not landlords, hold the leverage. Incentives that disappeared years ago are returning dramatically: free months, waived deposits, upgraded appliances, anything to make a listing stand out. Developers who poured concrete between 2021 and 2023 were certain fortunes would keep flooding into the city. Instead, many of their gleaming towers now overlook half-empty streets. Layoffs in finance, tech, and media have seriously damaged the city's high-income renter base. International buyers who once acted as Manhattan's invisible economic engine are retreating, scared off by global instability, rising taxes, and climbing costs. Even the ultra-wealthy are loosening up. High-end rentals on Billionaires Row are going for shocking discounts, while mid-tier building owners are caught in refinancing terms so harsh they're choking cash flow. Small landlords are starting to whisper a word New Yorkers avoided for years: foreclosure. Meanwhile, young professionals who once sacrificed everything for a Manhattan studio are looking elsewhere. Charlotte, Nashville, and Philadelphia suddenly look far more attractive, offering more space and far less financial stress. New York hasn't lost its energy or character. The pace, culture, and beautiful chaos are still there, but fewer people can keep up with the cost of staying. New York's decline isn't explosive, it's gradual and unmistakably deliberate. The city's experiencing a slow contraction, recognizing that even here, growth has limits. For the first time in living memory, New Yorkers are saying the quiet part out loud. The rent empire has finally peaked. The skyline still sparkles every night, but beneath the glow is a city pausing to catch its breath. Nationwide, something bigger is unfolding. A quiet revolution is reshaping America's housing landscape. For the first time in over a decade, renters have the upper hand. The era of chaotic bidding wars, last-minute applications, and relentless rent hikes is giving way to empty apartments, sliding prices, and landlords scrambling to adapt. But this shift isn't just about numbers. It's a change in mindset. Millions of Americans are beginning to question whether renting or even buying makes sense in an economy where the cost of living keeps climbing while wages stagnate. Developers chased luxury. Renters wanted livable homes. Investors sought returns. Families needed stability. Now the imbalance has caught up with everyone. Some cities will bounce back, others might shrink. But the lesson is universal. No housing market can outpace reality forever. The numbers tell the whole story.